Joan stood at the bottom of the staircase, her hand gripping the railing so tight her knuckles turned white. Just 12 steps to her bedroom, 12 simple steps that might as well have been Mount Everest. Her doctor had just increased her blood pressure medication again. Her ankles were so swollen she couldn't see her feet. And at 70 years old, she was asking herself the question that haunts so many of us. Is this just aging, or is something seriously wrong? But 3 years later, Joan was deadlifting 150 pounds and had thrown away every single one of her medications. How did a woman who couldn't climb stairs become stronger than people half her age? This is Joan MacDonald from Ontario, Canada, and her story isn't just about getting fit. It's about the moment when you stop asking, "Am I too old?" and start asking, "What if I'm not?" But before Joan was setting records in the gym, before she became an inspiration to over 1 million people, she was drowning in a body that felt like it was betraying her every single day. Let me take you back to where it all began. Joan had always considered herself an active woman. She'd played softball in her 40s, tried lawn bowling in her 60s. She'd even had a gym membership for years, going on and off, trying different programs. Her mornings started the same way for decades: a cup of coffee while looking out at the Canadian countryside, maybe a walk around the block if her knees felt good. She cooked for her husband, tended her small garden, lived the quiet life she'd worked so hard to earn. But somewhere along the way, something started changing. The walks got shorter, the stairs got steeper, the grocery bags felt heavier. At first, she told herself what we all tell ourselves: "Well, I'm getting older. This is just part of life." The morning Joan couldn't get out of bed changed everything. She woke up, swung her legs over the side of the mattress like she had thousands of times before, and nothing. Her body simply wouldn't cooperate. The inflammation in her ankles was so severe she could barely recognize her own feet. The arthritis in her hands made it impossible to grip anything firmly. Standing up took 5 full minutes and left her completely breathless. "This can't be normal," she whispered to herself, but deep down, a voice was saying something much darker. "Maybe this is just what 70 looks like." Her husband found her sitting on the edge of the bed, tears streaming down her face, asking the question that terrifies every one of us: "Am I becoming a burden?" The doctor visits became a routine of disappointment. Blood pressure medication increased. New pills for acid reflux. Cholesterol medication doubled. Each appointment felt like another step away from the woman she used to be. "Mrs. MacDonald," her doctor said, flipping through her chart, "these are pretty typical for someone your age. We'll need to monitor your blood pressure more closely, and I'm concerned about your weight." Typical for someone your age. Those 6 words echoed in Joan's mind for weeks. Was this really it? Was this all she had to look forward to? Simple tasks became monumental challenges. Carrying groceries from the car meant multiple trips. Gardening, her greatest joy, became impossible as her knees screamed in protest every time she knelt down. Even cooking dinner left her exhausted. But the hardest part wasn't the physical pain. It was watching her family's faces when they visited, the way her daughter's eyes filled with worry, the way her grandchildren became extra careful around her, as if she might break at any moment. "I was existing, not living," Joan remembers. "I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Every morning I woke up wondering what else would hurt that day." The woman who had once chased grandchildren around the yard now needed help opening a jar of pickles. The intervention came from the person who loved her most. Joan's daughter Michelle, a fitness coach and competitive power lifter, was visiting for what she thought might be one of the last times she'd see her mother truly mobile. Michelle had been gently suggesting exercise for years, but this time was different. "Mom," Michelle said, sitting beside Joan on that same bed where she'd struggled to stand just months before, "I need to give you an ultimatum. You can either choose to do something about your life, or you can choose to let it slip away, but you have to choose." The words hit Joan like lightning, an ultimatum from her own daughter. But instead of anger, Joan felt something she hadn't experienced in years, a spark of defiance. "I figured it was now or never," Joan recalls. "I was 70 years old, and Michelle was offering me a lifeline. I could either take it, or I could spend the rest of my life wondering what if." 3 weeks before her 71st birthday, Joan bought a plane ticket to Tulum, Mexico, where Michelle and her husband owned a gym. For the first time in years, she wasn't traveling to visit. She was traveling to transform. Joan's first day in the gym was humbling. The 10-pound weight that Michelle handed her felt impossibly heavy. Her legs shook during the simplest exercises. She could barely walk for 10 minutes on the treadmill. But something magical happened that first week. For the first time in years, Joan felt her body responding positively to challenge instead of breaking down from it. Michelle designed a program that started impossibly small. 5 meals a day focused on real nutrition instead of random snacking. 20 minutes of movement broken into tiny pieces if needed. Most importantly, no shame, no judgment, just progress measured in the smallest possible increments. Week by week, something incredible began happening. The woman who couldn't climb stairs was learning to deadlift. The hands that couldn't open jars were gripping barbells. The body that had felt like a prison was becoming a source of strength. "I remember the day I realized I hadn't thought about my blood pressure medication in weeks," Joan says. "Not because I'd forgotten to take it, but because I wasn't thinking about being sick anymore. I was thinking about being strong." 6 months in, Joan had lost almost 3 stone, but more importantly, she had gained something precious, the belief that her body was capable of healing itself. Today, at 78 years old, Joan MacDonald is completely medication-free. She deadlifts, does strict pull-ups, and can outperform people literally half her age. But ask her what she's most proud of, and she'll tell you it's not the weight she lost or the muscle she built. "I'm most proud that I'm not afraid of my body anymore," she says. "I'm not waiting for the next thing to break or the next medication to add. I wake up every morning excited to see what I can do." Joan's story isn't unique because she's special. It's powerful because she's not. She started exactly where many of you are right now, convinced that age means decline, that pain means surrender, that 70 means settling. Her message is simple but revolutionary. Exercise isn't about looking younger. It's about feeling alive at any age. Your muscles don't have an expiration date. Your strength doesn't have to surrender to your birthday. Every morning when Joan wakes up in her small Canadian town, she no longer asks, "What's going to hurt today?" Instead, she asks, "What can I accomplish today?" And that question has made all the difference. The woman who once couldn't climb 12 stairs now believes she'll be here for many more decades. She renewed her passport for another 10 years because, as she puts it, "I plan on being here." Maybe it's time you started planning on being here too. Your body is waiting for you to ask it to be strong again. What are you waiting for?